Hey, hey, how we doing? How we doing? Uh, Figure I better jump on here and say a couple of things. And again, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. And right now, I'm actually was trying to find a little quiet spot and everything because it's kind of quiet around here today. It's really no sun out and some people out on the beach and everything, but it's kind of peaceful everywhere. And so had to walk a little bit to find it, but we did. Not too far from where I lived at here in Santa Monica. And yesterday was the 20th. Yesterday was the 20th. And today is the eclipse here in Virgo. And I have been eclipsing a lot. Okay. Eclipsing a lot on a lot of things. Yesterday was also my Gigi's birthday. Okay. And with her, the last thing she told me and everything, the last time I saw her, she told me to go ahead and focus. She told me to go ahead and focus, and that's what I did. That's what I did. She also came to me and this is like a new year in a sense, on a cycle, on a certain cycle. It's a new year. Like I said, we just got finished coming from what February, September 8th to the 21st right now today, and this was the Ancestors Day. In India, and it was Goddess Energy 333, and a lot of people too. A lot of people, but I got to particularly say with hers, and I can't even remember. It wasn't this last one, this time last day, but the couple days before, and she hit me with the word narcissist, and so I sat up inside of that and looked back over it and everything, and I guess a lot of that stuff rubbed off on me, you know, in the sense that, well, narcissists only want you to do a certain way or certain things their way. They don't necessarily want to do, to compromise and everything, to compromise in a general sense. You know, that has not been my demeanor in life, but still, I know you can't grow up in a house and take away some of the things. We just have to work on them. We do have to work on them. All right. And so that one hit me a little bit as far as maybe even with some of the ways that I've been getting at people or getting back at people. They do it in a different way. I just do it straightforward. You know, and so it hit me. It hit me. You know, and so I owe an apology for a lot of people. A lot of people. Okay, so I'm apologizing to you right now. All right. Even going back onto the last post, we'll start there, I guess, with the purple. The purple and everything, with the Adinka. And I didn't know it meant all that, even down to arrogance. And like I said, like I put inside the post and everything, you know, and even each of us may even at times have trouble with that, you know, uh, even put prints up underneath and then the how his band and everything, the Revolution had problems with him, or as they spoke and everything, wasn't really pointed out in a sense of saying he was arrogant because everybody has all these traits that we're working on, and we channel it differently, whether it be through music, whether it be through, we hit it face to face, uh, or either run away from it. Okay, so each and every one of us, all these things, we articulate it in different ways and so forth. And if someone thinks that I was arrogant, and I know that I have been in a lot of ways, and a lot of times and everything. Okay, and that's in a defensive mode because of just the way. I mean, when I got out, when I went in and got out, two different people, and slowly, one thing at a time, kept digging in, you know, and I even wrote music for what 20. I think we wrote like 29 songs, and dated and giving credit to credit where credit is due, with different people and lyrics and so forth, and melodies and all that type of stuff, and even have a song called "Born to the Purple." You know, so it hit me inside of that too. It wasn't no dig at a superstar or icon like that and everything for any type of attention and everything, but at the same time, when the what's been happening is with the difference, the split is what gets me and everything, whether it be with the brown or whether it be with the pink, yellow, purple, or red, orange, yellow, you know, and lavender, purple. And purple is just red and blue together to make the color and everything. So, but it's a lot of division. Everybody has a lot of Everybody does it, but it's a lot of division, even with the inside of each sect, each side, and the middle path is not. You can't. Why couldn't somebody like sign a contract and hey, for a few years work over here, or contract over here and work over here, okay, or even signing two different working for both and everything, you know. Uh, Again, then those are those like even Prince when hit independent label, independent is independent. You know what I'm saying? True enough, you have to sign contracts in order to a lot of the things to get posted or paid and everything. These are contracts also, but this is where the tear was. This is where the tear was, and being pulled back and forth, and then a marriage being, you know, part of it. It wasn't. I mean, personally, I had just got out of a marriage, and I know it takes 10 years in order to go ahead and at least to even get to know the person and everything, you know. And then even after that, it's still, people be together for a while because some people don't change or people do change differently and so forth like that. So all those things, come into, you know, uh, come into be a factor or come into play. All right. And so jumping back into today and everything, yesterday was like, like I said, with my grandma Gigi, you know, uh, when she came up, like I said, she was asleep, and this is in Napa. She was sitting slouched down in her wheelchair, and me and Rosa was talking, and she got up and she was talking, asking me about the meds they were giving me, and she said, she she slid up before Rosa got to speak, and she said, "Focus, honey, honey, you just got to focus." And she slid back down, and she slid back down, and let the conversation go on. So it showed me that what she was even awake and listening to everything, even in the bad health and everything. But when she's aware of she was aware of every single thing, you know. And with this time right now, it actually hits like three people and everything that I met along the way. One was Martin Smikla. He was inside artist, and he was the one who first told me what books to get, you know, and started me on my path and everything inside of there. Another guy that I met inside of there, who's an ambassador, and they told me their stories and everything, how they got locked up inside of there. And it's and then and I think I'll recant him again shortly. You know, evidently the ambassador, you know, he told me, you know, they took his name, took his family, and threw him inside there. And he sat inside the mirror in the bathroom, picking his nose the whole time. You know, the whole time. Kind of like me going back and forth to this little cubicle right here to the bathroom, smoke a cigarette. You know, uh, going through all this mental, and at the same time, Martin Smickler, he had, you know, even, and this is to go with it and everything, is the alleyway that's straight across the street and everything. This when I walk outside this hotel that I'm in, and the alleyway is full of trash all the way down. You know, except for a couple places. Well, I had a dream and everything, and I woke up, and the alley was clear. It was clear, and I was like, whoa. I mean, I walked up and down the alley, and everything was clean and everything, you know. And and but then I got up the next day, and even in a sour puss mode. Okay, I have taken out some trash, and they moved the trash can that was in front because it belonged to the restaurant. And so I took my trash on down the alleyway, and I threw it in with the trash. You know what I'm saying? And which wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? You know, that I did it the other day, and I took it, waited till I saw a trash can that was open and everything. Because what am I doing putting trash on top of the trash when it's disgusting anyway, you know? And so, yeah, those two people right there. And then the third person and everything that comes to mind is, I guess I had an uncle, TJ. And the same exact scenario in a different way also happened to where he was actually on a uh, will deed to the house, and it was left to all of them, I believe. And so, but he was actually from a different mother, a different father. And so what happens is he doesn't sign it, and he keeps it, and he utilizes it to come out here, you know, to California with the equity back there or whatever. Took the equity out, or I'm not sure how he did it, but then he came over here and purchased a house up in Echo Park, and which is incidentally, this phone that I'm using right now is supposed to be off, but it's being left on. And the new phone I got, I looked at it the other day, and it was nine. I'm at 90057. It's at 90026, which is Echo Park, and I hadn't been over to Echo Park. You know, matter of fact, even saw a guy with the same little uh, hat, you know, the straw hat that I wear, walking, and you never see any brothers with the hat on walking. So I'm like saying, wow, wow, okay, and so what he does is he goes ahead, and this also happened with it happened with a lot of families and everything. It also happened with Ane's auntie. She moves in with the father, and their sisters and brothers and everything have problems, you know, getting whatever, you know, because she's taken over the uh, 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 take the caretaker. She took over, you know, and didn't divvy up correctly, And so it was a problem there. Same thing with, like I said, TJ here, uh, with the house, problem there. And so everybody has these type of problems. Everybody has these type of problems, you know. Uh, the thing, what I want to go back because, and I went ahead and took everything in a general sense, you know, put Rosa up on a pedestal, and I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. Why? Because not of the. I mean, she's, you know, she was. I don't think she's my mother. You know, that's the whole thing too. They my whole identity. I don't even know. You know, don't even know that. So even as the mother that she was, what I did go ahead and respect about her. There's a lot of things I didn't couldn't see eye to eye on, but I did respect about her is that she did have. She kept on using her mother's card after her mother had passed, and she made sure it's paid off. Why? Because Gigi, grandmother Ethel, Gigi, she she was good with money. She knew the laws and everything, and she didn't when she left. She didn't have Social Security or anything like that. They paid that out. She paid the. She knew the laws to go ahead and pay that to her while she was alive and utilize it, and she was able to go ahead and give different people and everything on that. And so with the house over there, you know, like I said, or even a will, you know, the three brothers are taken off, and the two grandchildren are added on, and that was changed in 219 when she died. She died at 213. Okay, so it's all kind of funky there. And the other thing she did is she held on to the 48 Dodge for me, and that was because again they had took money. You know, when I was in the military, you know, like $2,500 or something. No, they had took like shit 3,000. I sent like I only had $2,500. I sent like 6,000 home because I didn't even trust banks. But I'm looking at the positive, you know, the 48. The 48 was there. So I was looking at that and everything, and then, uh, and this is where I want to go in right now too, because this is where Gigi told me, especially to make sure, because, and Rena can verify this, is that at when I was in Texas with him and everything, she brought me back from Germany, but she already had custody over me at that time, I believe, because she knew Dunya, she knew the whole thing, you know, and over my probably my real name, okay, and when we were there inside the house there, you know, a lot of things, you know, we were sexually molested and all those things, so a lot of things we were breaking, you know, we're still doing, and as we're growing up, and even as, and I owe Rosie this apology, okay, because you can verify this with Rena, you know, when I went up there to tell my parents about every single thing that I've done and everything, they, she told me not to say that, you know, I wanted to go ahead and apologize to Nisha, to Rosie, you know, she said, no, don't do it. And that was between Nisha and Rosie and Rosa, okay? And I should have listened to that. I should have went over there and apologized. You know, I also had tried to get with a cousin, LaDonna, and I did try and apologize to her. She, you know, she didn't accept it and everything. And it wasn't like, oh, well, on that either, because, you know, evidently, who knows if I did, when I went to go apologize to Rosie, you know, I was going to pick up some smoke and everything. And Mariah Rose was there, so I couldn't necessarily do it. And she said, "Does it bother you?" And I, you know, you know. And I could have said, yeah, let me talk to her privately. I did a lot of things, you know. Like I said, eclipse a lot of things. And so we were doing sit-ups. I believe she was in high school. We was doing sit-ups and everything. And she was sitting on my leg, my feet, and I sat on her feet and everything. And all of a sudden, my toe slipped up in between her vagina, and I did a few more, did a few sit-ups, and with it there, and it just, and maybe that right there, was something she held on to. I don't know, like with Ladonna, you know, I don't know. And but when I got out, it wasn't that. It was hi, Uncle Veer, So, but regardless, it's still something that I was going to clear up and do, and that's what I did. You know, the other thing was uh, with Rena. We were, I already knew that she was gay because the questions that we would talk about and ask and everything, and but I thought, hey, she was changing, and I didn't think about this whole marriage setup thing, until a little bit later, till way later, actually, way into it. And I'm out here, and I was like, because the question was, about sex. Do you like, porn and everything? She goes, well, I like to see two men and everything, and that one had got me and everything, in a general sense. Everybody had a preference and so forth, and because when I watch it and everything, in a general sense, it's male and female and everything. Every once in a while, it might be two females and everything. It wasn't like a big thing for myself, to see two females and everything. And then just the whiskers, the you, you just have to be around. The vibration, the total vibration period, you know. And it's not the thing. Everybody can be who they want to be, but it's like that wasn't said up front. 22 on the clock wasn't said up front, and so that was in the back of my mind also as me going out there with, you know, even I wasn't reaching out to these females though. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they present themselves too, and then I would go ahead and uh, follow up. You know, and so that's when I went ahead and did those things too inside the marriage. And one time, I told you about the Benny boys over in Thailand, and the brother coming home and had uh, a scar on his face and everything because he didn't believe it was a man, you know. And one time I was sitting over here. It was not too. It was right across the street from the house and everything, because I was out, thinking about the past, recent past at that point in time, with Damien taking the 5,000, 4,000, uh, looking at everything around right here with the whole wife situation, and so I went out and just walking the street to smoke a cigarette and everything, and I see this girl walking up and everything, and looked like a female, okay, and it's raining and everything, but she's smoking on that stuff and everything, and I just wanted to light my cigarette, and the way her voice, well, in all actuality, was a guy, and get straight to it and everything, we end up kissing. And when we kissed, that's when I felt the motherfucking whiskers, and I was like, okay, what the fuck? Okay, and I didn't, what the fuck, I'm like that. I was like, chill to just, back on up and, and go ahead and go and everything, And lo and behold, he somehow gets my number and calls me. We didn't exchange numbers, but he somehow gets my number and calls me. Have all kinds of, just like numbers come on here, come on these phones. All my phones, people had my number, you know, and So that was one thing I didn't tell Rena, you know. And actually, it had slipped my mind. It wasn't on purpose and everything, but it had slipped my mind and everything. But listening to all the videos to include, and but first off, from my grandma Gigi, okay, and that is to go ahead and make everything straight, get everything straight. Just like when my grandfather told me to go ahead when I get out, to try with the grandchildren, try with the kids, his children, one more time. So his aunties and nephew went over to help my auntie move 3 different times from Arizona. You know, uh, gave moms and pops money and everything. Uh, did what I could in order to, you know, even like I said, forgave Damien, okay, to certain degrees and everything. Didn't function with him, but all those type of things, and to move on, to move on, okay. And yet, then an incident happened to where uh, my mom wouldn't let. First, she lets Rena in to see her at work. I mean, in the hospital, and that's naked and so forth and everything. She lets her in the hospital to see because she was in the hospital. I had to go see her, you know. And it went from that to when Nisha told Rena not to call my mom and dad, mom and dad, and then she told me about it, and I was like, why is she jumping in between that's your relationship and everything? And so that kind of pissed me off too. So I went, in order to stand up for my wife and everything, I went ahead still, and she told me not to say nothing, but that was like that was too much and everything. But then it went from that to where Rosa didn't even let her in the house to use the bathroom. At the same time, when Rena and her mom came up and everything, she was telling her mom because her mom actually was coming to pick us up and everything, you know. And she told her mom, don't touch Eugene, don't let him touch you, don't let him touch you. So I'm listening to all of this shit, I'm listening to all of it, just taking it in, and these are the eclipse during this time right now. And the last time I saw her, I had got her on my phone bill, and that was a problem evidently. you know I think I even got her a different phone, and I still had. Oh no! And I was going to take it down. I was going to take her old phone down to see what was going on with it because it was on my account, and I didn't have my account at that time. And because same thing that's happened with my phone, that's what they did to her phone. And so he wanted the phone, and so we met at the VA. And this is the last time I saw her. This is the last time I saw her. She was crying, big time in the front, you know, crying and shaking. And then when I opened up the thing to go ahead and put the Dynagem in, she turned around and then, and hit her head, and then she just started crying, shaking and shaking and shaking. And then as I walked back to the car, she hit the bar, hit the dashboard and everything. And that was the last time I saw her. And I took up because I was upset because it was tripping on a Dynagem. He wanted the Dynagem. He wanted everything taken back. He wanted everything taken back. I had borrowed it to go ahead and do some working out and everything. Whenever, so all that stuff hit me. This whole eclipse right now. You know what I'm saying? That was the last time I saw her. You know, and the reason why I had switching subjects. The reason why I had said Damien had something to do with killing, her, murking her, is that Eugene told me to go ahead and murk Damien. But at the time when all this right here happened, he goes ahead and says, I'm going to go ahead and live with Damien. And then the next thing that comes up, Damien says, I come to see him a little bit later. He says, even after all this, he says, I got $1 million life insurance bond. And so he was always the one who wanted to flirt. I mean, not flirt, but pop his collar on something and everything. I always got it. I didn't even, so all this stuff right here just lined up, you know, lined up and everything. You know what I'm saying? And and when I did confront him about it, you know, Eugene and both of them together on the phone, Eugene sent a text saying he was scared. He was scared, you know. So I don't think that's the reason why I don't think Eugene had anything to do with it. But Damien is uh, very capable, and from what I had saw, reading into everything, he had something to do with it. He was the very first one to go ahead and yell with the in the background and get out the picture real quick. It had to leave Eugene in, and I believe that was theatrical also for Eugene for that day. When the police and everything were out there. Okay. Um, yeah, and then going through this learning curve phase, 32 on the clock with this YouTube here. You know, at no point in time was I really looking to get married. The thought was thrown up in there, and I'm muddled around with it. Only with two people actually, only with two people, and that was uh, Miss Linda and then Molly and everything. When I saw what her work was, and then Linda, because I saw what her work was, and I thought we can go ahead and do, you know, uh, collaborate on different things, and and uh, and it was not a thing of, I mean, it was just simply that, you know, collaborate, and because it was in the direction, sort of in the direction and everything where I'm building, and even inside of the copying stuff didn't start here. The copying stuff didn't start here. This thieving of things or taking of things actually started with Rena. It started with Rena because my work and everything that I had did when I was inside, okay, it was three particular books that was taken that I can remember, and probably one that I don't, somebody that I don't. And one was that of a Buddha, you know, and I had underlined and I had did a lot of stuff in there, to where it's a lot of stuff inside the book, you know. The other book was that on I think it was Buddhism. It was a Hindu religion, and in there is where I saw for the first time and equating it with like Ezekiel, when God supposedly had told Ezekiel to go ahead and take that man's dung and everything and build a fire, you know. And he says, "No, I have not. I won't do it and everything. I'm not made myself to be filthy like that." So he said, "Okay. Well, go take some cow's dung and everything, you know." And so within the book itself, what I was talking about, whether it be it was some type of like Indian religion, and so I read it in the book, and I went to go look it up and everything to see if they practice anal sex and so forth. But it didn't say any religion practiced it. But in the book, it did. It said in the book it did, and it got on with that of tantric yoga, to where they drank the urine and ate the feces, okay, and ate the feces and everything, you know, and uh, so that book was taken, and then the overall work when I had did all the numbers with the Hebrew Bible and the Greek. I went ahead and calculated everything out, and that's how I got to go ahead and learn a lot, because I got to see each and every single number in every word and everything. And so those three materials right there are the materials that they took, you know, and which was, you know, the base, one of the bases for me to start at with my, with my work and everything. And then the videos off the YouTube, and then, like I said, the Facebook videos been shut down and changed also along the way, and a lot of stuff, you know. But even for, I had, even in the music, I would say, like to say I was colorblind, colorful, but colorblind and everything in that essence. You know what I'm saying? I got Spanish inside there. You know what I'm saying? Wrote Copa de Nieve, a snowflake wine, and English and Spanish. Uh, Hebrew. Uh, like I said, Born to the Purple. I had even one for even Indy, dealing with the Shaktis, chakras and everything. Chakras and everything, So it was not, it was never to separate, but celebrate the colors and so forth. And then when it gets to here, either it's over here on this side, or over on that side, and each of them involve a marriage, you know, you know, uh, and so this is where the problem has been, because even Rosa, like I said, she had the pink on a lot, and with the W and all that stuff, and it had the blue over to the other side, blue, saying blue. So even with that right there, and looking at it, you know, uh, it's in a masculine sense, but at the same time, hey, if she knew what was going on with me the whole time too, knew who I was, if I'm not her son or what have you not, the whole time too, and knew, she had to know about, because she didn't go to 2021. She didn't go to 2021, and she knew about the what do you call the wheel being changed. She had to know about the wheel being changed, and each time she went back for her death, she also came back angry. She came back angry, and because something's happened, and evidently there was something there with the family, and even Nisha, you know, she made that loud and clear, loud and clear. And so even going back, I think it's, when I first, reason why it was leery even with Miss Linda, is because she started 4 years in, and okay, 4 years ago, and every single thing was scenario, this whole thing, just like everybody's on it right now, everybody, same thing as Rusty Dawn, when she started, name is right inside of there. Ohio was there with Linda, and it was just so much stuff to where either she was family or she knew my family, and that's working with them or something like that. in order to go ahead and get me in. And that's where the marriage thing always started. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody is the emperor or empress and got me up under their jurisdiction, just like the Seth is, then and I don't know it, and me even signing this rental lease and everything right here, you know, probably gave them that authority over me in that aspect, not to my knowing, you know, and so that's been the thing right there, to where, and I know everybody's going through their own things too. Okay, this is not just about me. I know everybody's going through something, you know, whether they want to change, do something different, and we have, you know, this Aquarius time right now, which is that of change, to excuse me, to start to do things just a little bit different, just a little bit different. I guess a lot of things that's different within the circles and everything, within the, whether it be the brown or the, you know, be the purple or the pink and everything within the community. It doesn't necessarily mean like, well, I guess from one person, you know, taking giving commands or what have you, man, to maybe a more of a group, you know, a group and everything. You know, I guess the kings maybe didn't have a whole lot of say so with the emperor, you know, but there are many emperors and everything, and a lot of the emperors, you know, then you had the Most High, and you know they use this whole terminology and everything, and it's a learning curve for me. I ain't gonna lie, it was a stretch, is a stretch, but after I started the Emperor School, it was, you know, it was made sense, made a lot of sense there, dollars and cents, yen and cents, and still wanting to go ahead and be a sovereign in my movement and everything, to be able to work over on either side or whatever, or even at the same time, you know, it's either just choices this or that, you know, and it wasn't how I'm built. It's not how I'm built and everything. We can have both and everything, but evidently that's not how the system works and everything, you know. So we learn a lot. We learn a lot in this curve right here, you know. Let me see right here. I wrote a little my little notes here because there was a lot of stuff here. It says, oh, and then even when I saw the beginning portion, you know, of different things, where it's like, it said, I don't know about, you know, I don't know about Ms. Linda, even at the beginning on certain things. You know, that's when I saw it. I said, and I made a video, a little clip that says, don't come mess with me with my piece if you because you can't find yours and everything. And so that was the beginning, the onset of not fully trusting, but yet still wanting, because I have to go ahead and say, because of Rosa, in a sense that the different things that she did do to go ahead and, you know, like I said, the 40, say the 48 Dodge and everything. But honestly, outside of that, they didn't write either after some time, and so to see them all, you know, she did come to see me a couple of times. She did. You know, Eugene only came to see me that one time when I had that dream, and he never came to see me, and I was 15 minutes away. You know, never came to see me other than that one time alone. You know, and so, you know, it is what it is. But where are we at here? I'm just looking down here. Then another incident, like I said, for myself and everything, you know, as I was pointing out other people's shit, another incident for myself that I fucking did is I was in the military. even in the military, on a leave and everything, on a weekend or some shit like that. And went down to LA to visit my Uncle Archie. And again, being sexually molested, fucks you up. Fucks you up. And I even went to so far to even, the homie, Archie's homie and him, they wanted to go to a club and everything. And we all went out and everything too. I wasn't necessarily feeling the club, and I went home and everything. And his girl went home. And I actually went up to try and go up inside the house and got inside the house and go mess with his girl. The dude came home and was going to, of course, I would have smashed me my ass too and everything, you know, smashed my own fucking ass. Okay. But he gave me a pass. He gave me a pass. He sure did, you know, and that was with Archie and everything, and, and Archie, I didn't know, lived right up the street from them in Grover Beach. But I got a little bit upset and everything when I found that out. Why? Because Archie didn't write me one time. I also in 13 years, and when I come to find out that he, as even as a man, you probably say I'm gonna have to let your dad know. Let your dad know, but because I don't want whatever to come back on me or whatever. But he didn't do that, and everything. But he did let him know, and then they ended up coming out through my mom because my mom wanted to let me know, you know, that what was said and everything. And so I don't see Archie the whole time, even until 2021. 2021, until she passed away. And I was upset at that point in time because he didn't even come and fucking, I just wanted to go ahead and get at him because, at least come to me as a man and say something, let me know or whatever and everything, so I don't have to walk into it like that and everything. But it wasn't that type of a deal. My brothers tried to back me up and everything, but that's all I was. I wasn't, hey, I had did it, you know, but hey, we're grown men now and everything. That's when I was fucking younger and everything, grown men, and so all of that shit had got me, heated, just in that moment and in the moment that my, Rosa had passed and everything too. So it was compiled and everything, and it, so and this all of this right here is coming out, really because of like I said, my grandma Gigi, when she told me to go ahead and focus, when she told me to go ahead and focus and get everything out, because when all said and done, I know a lot of people's pissed the fuck off, both sides. A lot of people's pissed the fuck off and everything. When all said and done and everything, though, you know, if it be like a Martin Luther King, hey, after he talks about, the people being given the land and taught how to farm and all that type of thing, he's taking out April 4th, 1968, you know, if that goes all said and done, he did what he said. He said what he said. He did what he did. And even with all, he had the infidelities inside of his marriage, and from what we've heard, that and everything too. So even along the way, saying whatever happens and everything happened. At least when I leave here, I went ahead and got everything out, even my all my shit. It's not. I'm not just pointing no fucking fingers and telling them up on that bullshit. No, no, no. We're talking about inheritance, and it's actually deeds. Deeds. It's actually I read it inside the I Ching and everything. You know, given instruction even to go ahead and get these deeds. These deeds. Forget the comedian who played Mr. Deeds, but it's along that whole line and everything. Along that whole line, Mr. Deeds. And matter of fact, he had a big B in the movies about like the Bitcoin B, a big B inside of there. Okay, so might be slow, might be a little bit slow, But I had to get it all by myself. And not only that, even if I was, all of my equipment, telephone, everything has always had problems with it. Always. Even doing regular schoolwork and shit, you know? So to infiltrate and stop different things, or it's it's been a task and a half just to go ahead and upgrade in my education, even in you know in myself and everything, and on my work on myself, in my education, all of that stuff and everything. Even like I said, when I went to go ahead and start learning the Coptic, Apple shut down my thing. I had to go ahead and pay them, and I went ahead and did that. You know, then when I went to pay them to go ahead and get it, back upright and everything, and then when I went ahead to start writing my book over inside up underneath the Wi-Fi in the library, Dell they shut down my Dell. Okay, Colorado with Venetia, you know, where Venetia lives at, uh, and whatever they were doing, the Colorado Stream popped up. So it might have been the state of Colorado, or it could have been in particular because for some reason Rena wants to go ahead and she's asking her to show her something or whatever, you know, and it might be to mirror my phone I had, because what happened was she for some reason she calls me and tells me to go ahead and see. Look, Venetia's sitting right here. So I'm not nowhere now. I'm like, right? And I took a picture. Well, I come back and like I said, and she's going through my phone and the picture's gone. So it was just it's been a gang of stuff that one has gone through. You know, and another reason why I didn't mess with go towards. So why did I go towards Archie and everything? Well, their whole family throw everybody up underneath the bus and everything. And this is after. This is totally after and everything. Uh, as I went out there to help Mary Jane move and everything, like I said, 3 times, and she's talking about different ones. She talk about the brother Archie, and I guess that she didn't like his wife Lourdes, or she said she was a witch, and I don't know whether that was good witch or bad witch. Either way, I wasn't even messing with it and everything. But it's just like a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff that was going on with this whole family, you know, with a lot of stuff going on, and even inside of myself to go ahead and get through, And so, and I know it's not to say, hey, everybody, I know everybody's going through shit. Stand in line. I let one Uncle John, he said that, and that stands true. He says, hey, everybody's going through something, and even more so, even at this point in time too, even more so right now. You know, that was back in 2017, and we're not talking about 225 right now. Right now, it's even the vibrations are even higher. You know, on even to change, whether it be within your own systems and everything. Like I was talking about there, or even within the individual. Even if one was to say, I guess, contracted with the pink, but then they wanted to go ahead and go over here to that of the brown. And by contract. Now I'm sure we everything is a whole. It's either this is the left side and the right side of the brain. Everything is a whole and everything, and we do go ahead and contract. Work with teamwork as as there's 2 girls I was walking past the street right now, and I hit the button so we can walk across and everything, and she said on the way, she says, good teamwork. So as she was talking about that with the light, I'm saying the same teamwork that you guys have inside of there, whether it be to for the good, the bad, and the ugly, to go ahead and happen. Uh, it's teamwork. It's teamwork. So good teamwork, you know, good teamwork and everything. Uh, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really worried. You know, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Okay. I saw this already. We got a few people yelling this and yelling that, talking up, why, like a motherfucker's crying about something. Uh, maybe it is a cry. Maybe it is a cry. It's not like I can go ahead and go get a job anywhere. And it wasn't because of this right here. It's because what I've done right here. That was prior already. That was prior already, you know. And one thing I did want to go ahead and say, even with the last job with the Asonics, like I said, even though we were on the opposite sides, you know, like I said, even with Jason, we strong grip and everything because it's respect and everything. He said, "Damn, you pretty good, basically." And I respected him too and everything on walking on out of there. And not one of them did that. Not one of them did that. A lot of them said, uh, a lot of them was good riddance, like a mug, and all kinds of different things. All kinds of different things. But yeah, no, I had, like I said, my Gigi told me to go ahead along with, it's not like I dismiss anything that anybody has said, whatever, a lot of it is, again, it it's going to be whatever they projected, whatever the tape is, whatever the ticker tape says, that's what it's going to be. It doesn't mean that it's true, though. It does not mean that it's true. Okay? So that is all I really wanted to go ahead and say today, because I have been going within and looking at all these things that everyone has been pointing out. I've been looking at them in a fairness on both sides, you know. And once again, I do apologize. Okay, I do apologize on a lot of levels. It is not uh, just a simple immature thing that one person might go ahead and say. It's not just simple immature thing like that. I'm conscious about everything that's going on. I just got a late start, even inside of this world. Just got a late start. Got a late start, you know, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So I thank you, like I started out with, and as the world turns, as the world turns. All right, all right. You all take care. Enjoy your day, or an evening, or a night, wherever you're at, and light a candle for me. Whether you choose, whether it be to, and you want to snuff it out, or you actually, how the sun pops out. The sun just pops out right there for a second. See the sun? It popped out right there when I was reaching for something. I was reaching for something that popped out right there. Or if you want to make this day brighter, we can make it brighter. All right. Anyways, you all enjoy yours, and yeah, be peaceful. All right. Ciao, ciao.